Shalom, shalom, Israel. First, I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High Yahweh. Ba'ashema Mashiach Umarak Yahushua. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world calls God, and Yahushua is the name of His only begotten Son, who the world inwardly calls Jesus Christ. First, I want to give a strong shalom to all the mighty men that's going out there laboring, presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, doing all they can to wake up the lost sheep of the house of Israel, enduring the elements, the 100-degree weathers, the freezable colds, and everything that's trying to hinder the word of the Most High. Secondly, I want to give another strong shalom to all the mighty Akwath, right? The women that are at home, the sisters that are married and unmarried, but they're reverencing their husbands, being teachers of good things, tender, delicate, and on fire for the Most High. Last but not least, I want to give another strong shalom to all the mighty teenagers and children in this thing as well, doing all they can to magnify the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashema Mashiach Umarak Yahushua, and make their calling and election sure in these last days. It's Brother Tazman. I'm coming at you with another cold cut through the Spirit, and it's the topic of this live stream, or this cold cut rather, is right how to handle your job, being in this truth, right? How to handle your job while you're being in this truth, or while you in the truth rather, right? Work edition. Now, a brother asked me to go into this about 2 weeks ago, and other brothers had questions about it. But again, this is essentially going at how to conduct yourself, or how to handle your job being in the truth, man. Now, it's a lot of things that go down at the workplace. It's a lot of things that go down at your job. It's a lot of evil. It's a lot of wickedness there. It's a lot of folly. You got madness going on. You got Jake lusting over Eve. Or you got Eve at the workplace dressing all promiscuous. You got the so-called white man cracking down on Jake, right? Beating their head in, telling them to get to work, boy. Right? You have men that take their job extremely serious, right? You got wicked and worldly conversations going on. It's a lot of things going on in the workplace, man. It's a lot of ungodly and it's a lot of spirits that's going on. Cause where it's a mass level of people, you will always, where it's a lot of people, you will always have a lot of spirits. So it's a lot of spirits going on, man. It's a lot of weed. It's a lot of cigarette smoking by the gate, right? Right. It's a lot of weed smoking. It's a lot of things that go down at the so-called workplace, man. And you have to be able to know how to conduct yourself while you're in this truth, being on a plantation, man. Working for the so-called white man, right? Going to work every day, getting up in the morning. It's certain rules and mannerisms. Being an Israelite, you have to conduct yourself. But through the Spirit, we're going to go over and tackle most I willing each point I have written down, so you could be able to know how to move while you're amongst this world and dealing with Esau, so-called white man, working, take care of your family, so you can be able to do what you got to do. Now, first, I want to go to the book of, let me see what I want to open up with, right? Let's go to the book of, I'm going to read this. Let's go to Proverbs. Let's open up with Proverbs, right? Chapter 21, right? This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 21, and verse number 16. It says, the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. The point I wanted is, when you're amongst your job and your work, you're amongst the congregation of the dead, man. It's a lot of dead bodies around you. It's a lot of dead people walking around. People that don't know what's going on. Men that don't have understanding. It's probably 100. It's probably maybe I wouldn't even say 100. Probably 50 people at your job. Out of that 50 people, you might be the only one in the truth, man. Or you might have two other men that in the truth out of 50 people. You might have 100 people at your so-called job. Out of that 100 people, you might only have them three, man. Max two. So dealing in that environment, you're already amongst the congregation of the dead. And how I like to look at it, when you amongst the so-called workplace, that's just a test sent down by the Most High. Your job is a test with a lot of things that you need to work on personally that's gonna help exercise you so you could be able to build yourself up. That's all it is. It's just a test. It's up to you whether you're gonna pass it. Nevertheless, you're around a lot of men that have no understanding. So with that being said, you have to know how to operate. One of the first things when you get a so-called job or you interested in that field is you want to stay focused. You want to go there for your goal. Guess what? Go there for your goal. That's it. That's all. And go home. You got certain men, they get caught up with their job. Now all of a sudden they was just going there to pay the bills and to get out and still push this truth. But now they go there, now they talking to Esau, Emily. They talking to a damn Edomite woman called Emily. And you're getting lunch, it's Taco Tuesday, and you're getting tacos at the food truck with her. You got a lot of men, they get caught up in their job, man. They're talking to damn Danny, right? They hanging out with Jake. They was going there just to get some cash. And now they hanging out with Lil Danny, right? And Lil Rico on the Sabbath day, man. So you want to remain focused, man. You want to go in there, do your job, go back home. That's it. That's all. Let's go to the book of Proverbs, right? Let's go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 4. Right? So one of the first points, you want to stay focused. Go to Proverbs chapter 4. Right, let's go to the book of Proverbs chapter 4 and verse number 23. It says, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Meaning, keep your mind. Put away from thee a forward mouth, and perverse lips put far from thee. It says, verse 25, let thy eyes look right on. So you want to let your eyes look right on, man. Meaning what? Look to the goal that you're trying to achieve, man. If you're going to work just to get some extra cash so you can take care of your family, hey, brother, do that, man. And that's it. That's all. If you're just going there because you need a place to work, you're trying to get another apartment, you're trying to get out of your mom's house, etc. Hey, go there and work. Do what you got to do. Let your eyes look right on. Still have your main goal, which is the kingdom of heaven. Trying to serve the Most High, magnify His name. Then, hey, you have your job, you just work and get some cash, and you got to do what you got to do. It says, and let thy eyelids look straight before thee. Ponder thy path, thy feet, and let all thy ways be established. Right, it's the point. Verse 27. It says, turn not to the right hand, nor to the left. You got a lot of men, they start turning to the right or to the left, man. They start looking around, meaning looking at distractions, getting caught up with distractions. It says, remove thy foot from evil. And as you all know, you got a lot of evil going on, man. So it'd be a lot of evil at these jobs, man. These jobs are not all sweet. It's just all sweet. Everything's going good. No, that's not how this thing works. It's wickedness at these jobs. At these jobs, man. Ultimately, distractions. Let's say you got Jake lusting over Eve. Talking about, hey, did you see that, bro? Right? You got certain men talking about, hey, did you see that, bro? You see her? Man, she look good, man. Only that's off, man. What do you mean? She's married. You be having married women at the workplace, talking to men, talking to other men, and not their husband, right? You got Eve lusting after Jake, right? Wearing promiscuous clothing. It's evil at the workplace, man. So you have to let your eyes look straight on. Look not to the left, look not to the right, man. Get in and you gotta have that mindset of getting in and getting out. Now, let's go to Sirach. I want to bring this out. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 27. Alright. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 27. And verse number 12. Let's go to Sirach, chapter 27 and 12. It says, Sirach 27 and 12. If thou be among the undiscreet, right? If you be amongst the undiscreet, meaning the men that don't have no understanding, the men and women that don't know what's going on. If you be amongst the undiscreet, observe the time. While you at the so-called workplace, you want to observe the things around you, man. You got to be focused. A lot of you, man, the reason why things not going well, because you're not focused. You got certain men getting too caught up with their jobs. Oh yeah, it's the Day of Atonement. My boss, he called me into work. No, brother, you got to keep the commandments. Okay, so Esau stressing me out today. I'm not gonna read today, man. I had a bad day at work. And you have to observe the time. You have to know what's going on. It says, if thou be amongst the indiscreet, observe the time, but be continually among men of understanding. See that? So you might have somebody at your so-called job that's an Israelite, or that might be in the truth, which is rare. Nevertheless, you want to be amongst a man of understanding. Link up with that brother or sister. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be by yourself. So you have to observe the time. You have to stay focused, man. You have to turn on your spiritual eyes. You have to turn on your, for lack of better terms, your demon indicator, man. Your spirit indicator. And read these spirits and know how to avoid them. And again, this scenario, when you at the so-called workplace by yourself, it's not the first time that our forefathers have been in this situation, or we have. Our forefathers went through this, man. Being the only one amongst the whole city of evildoers. Right? Being the only one amongst ungodly men. Let's go to 2 Peter. Right? Go to 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse number, I'm going to start at verse 6. 2 Peter 2 and 6. And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an example unto those that after shall live ungodly. Right? The Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. You can read about that in Genesis the 19th chapter. Verse 7. That's the point. And delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. And I don't want to jump the gun, man. Let me see. Yeah, I don't want to jump the gun, but we might have to tackle these things. I don't want to jump the gun. The point is, it says, and deliver just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. And that might be you at your so-called job. You're going to hear Jake talk about Eve, man. And freaking off behind Eve, man. Right? Freaking off with married woman. Married woman talking to men that's not their husbands. You're going to be vexed. You're going to hear a lot of people talk about weed smoking. Right? And money. How they going to stay for overtime. You're going to get vexed in there, man. How people always, they just talking about food. Right? They don't want to be here. I had this one Jake at my last job. He used to come in every day and say, as soon as he come in, he said, I'm ready to go home. Right? 40-some years old, but he crying like a child, man. First thing we'll come into work, he said, man, I'm ready to go home. I couldn't blame him, but brother, you don't have to say that every day. After a while, you get vexed, man. So Lot was the same way. Lot was vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. It says, for that righteous man dwelling among them, and seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. So Lot was in the same position. When you at your so-called job, you're gonna be vexed day to day, man. Right? Literally, for you brothers and sisters that go to work every single day, 5 days a week, 6 days, including Sunday, you're gonna be vexed. Every day, you're gonna, because you're seeing nothing but wickedness. Unlawful deeds. Things that's off. That's the same, Lot was in the same position, living in Sodom and Gomorrah. And man, it's no telling what Lot heard at night with those homosexual men next door to him and down the street. But he was vexed day to day. It says, for that righteous man dwelling amongst them, and seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. The Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptation, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished. Right? So, hey, you're not alone in it. If you're the only person at your job in the truth, guess what? Our forefathers been through that, man. Again, Lot was the only one in the city. Lot was the only man in the city in Sodom and Gomorrah being righteous. To the point where when you read Genesis, the 18th chapter, the Lord was begging that Abraham was begging that Yahweh shall spare the city if there be 10 righteous amongst the city. Let's get that account. Right? Let's get that account. Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 18. Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 18 and 32. Genesis 18 and 32. And he said, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak yet but this once. Peradventure 10 shall be found there. Right? Because Abraham is begging on the behalf of Lot. Abraham is saying, well, Lord, if there be 10 righteous city with 10 righteous men in Sodom and Gomorrah, you have to spare it. You can't destroy it. So this is what the Lord said. He said, I would not destroy it for 10's sake. See that? So it wasn't even 10 righteous men in Sodom and Gomorrah. Right? It was probably only 2, 3. Right? Lot and his children and his 2 daughters. Because, hey, Lot's wife looked back. So it's only... And there's no telling the population of Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah was, for lack of better terms, it was bussing back then. Jake say, oh yeah, it's bussing. It's cracking. Back then, Sodom and Gomorrah, that was a chief hotspot, man. Men will go there to freak off. Not only that, men will go there to trade, set up business. It was like Egypt at one point in time. Nevertheless, It wasn't even 10 righteous men there. Right? Right, like the brother said, Vegas, like, right, men just go to it's a hot spot to freak off somewhere. Nevertheless, 10 righteous men, and again, that might be you at your job. You might be the only one. It might be you and a brother, and y'all the only one in the truth. That's it. Y'all the only ones in the truth. Nobody else in the truth. Or it might be 100 people at your job, and you the only one by yourself with your fringes. You're the only sister wearing a dress and a hair wrap. Nevertheless, you have to let your light shine before men. And we're going to get to that. Now, let's go to the book of... I want to see what this priest... Let me see. Alright, let's go to the book of Matthew, the 6th chapter, the classic. Right? So again, the first point is, when you're dealing in that environment, you want to stay focused. You want to be continually meditating on the precepts. Right? Right? You at work. Now, let's go to Matthew chapter 6 and 33. This is Matthew chapter 6 and 33. And you have to train your mind. And if you just coming out of the world into the truth, man, and you try to go to work, it's gonna be tough for you. Right? You got certain men saying, I really want a job. Hey, a job is not what you think it is till you get in that environment. Right? Now, this is Matthew 6 and 33. It says, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. That's want to be your mindset. Your mind is, hey, focusing on the kingdom. Or I know certain jobs, I'm saying, they let you have your earphones in. Hey, put in your earphones, listen to a video, man. I've done that before. I listen to videos, men breaking down the scriptures. I listen to camp teachings while I'm at work to help you stay in the spirit. Why? Because that's going to lead us into our next topic, which is, what's that? It's a lot of distractions at work, man. Right? It's a lot of distractions at work, man. And you gotta always abound in the work of the Most High. You don't want to be that brother. You just go in there, you just walk in there, you don't know what's going on, and you in there for the wrong reasons. You have certain men getting jobs. Oh yeah, that's where all the women at. Let me go to this place right here. Right? His mind is not right. Right? Got certain women going to certain jobs. Oh yeah, I know this job allows me to wear pants, so I'm gonna purposely do it. Right? That's evil, man. Right? That is evil. And before we get to the next point, I want to say this. Do not get a job that's gonna have you to break the Most High's commandments. Right? Before we go into the next point, do not get a job that's gonna have you break the commandments of the Most High. Hey, these jobs is evil, man. I've been I remember my first time I applied for McDonald's, man. They said, hey, fill out this information, and we'll be able to get you in for an interview. So I filled out the application. I went up there, and I'm interviewing, and it's a feminine man interviewing me, man. He got his legs crossed, right? He's talking in a soft voice. Then he's asking me questions. He says, do you have any past job experiences? Right? Where have you been? Where are you from? So I'm talking with him. Then at the end, he says, okay, for you to get this job, right? This literally happened. I was applying for McDonald's. He said, okay, for you to get this job, you have to cut your beard off, right? You can't have all of that working back there. And I'm like, can I get a different position? Can I get at least a cashier? Can I something? He said, no, you're gonna have to cut your beard off. So I said, well, what is this? What if this is for religious reasons? Right? I have to have my beard. He's saying, hey, you have to bring in something. We're not trying to hear that. Right? Cut your beard or you're not working at. He didn't say it like that, but he said, hey, you're gonna have to cut your facial hair off. So guess what? I didn't work at McDonald's, man. Now you got a lot of brothers saying, I don't know, I really need this job. I don't know, I think I might do it. Right? Then the brother getting the damn razor, right, with the gillette, and he's shaving off one half of his beard, man. Right? Now you got a damn 5 o'clock shadow or a chin strap. But the Most High is not dealing with you breaking the commandments for your job. Let's go to the book of Matthew. Right? Let's go to the book of Matthew, the 6th chapter. The Lord is not dealing with you breaking the commandments for your job, man. Right? Your job tell you, hey, it's the Sabbath day. We need you to come in. If you don't come in, you're automatically terminated. Well, and guess what? We getting terminated then, man. We not. Now you want to walk in wisdom, right? You want to you want to look for another job in the meantime. Nevertheless, if a job tell you to shave your beard, brother, don't shave your beard off. You got certain brothers saying, hey, brother, hey, you gotta obey the powers that be. Romans chapter 13 and verse 1. No, brother, that's not what it's talking about. Right, before we get to that, let's go to Sirach. Before I get that in Matthew, let's go to the book of Sirach. You got certain brothers talking about, yeah, you gotta obey the powers that be. Brother, that's not what it's going into. But this is the book of Sirach, chapter 15 and verse number 19. I'm gonna start at verse. I'm gonna start at verse 11. Sirach 15 and 11. Say not thou, it is through the Lord that I fell away. Right? Right, you got certain. Wait, I'm gonna read that again. This is Sirach 15 and 11. Say not thou, it is through the Lord that I fell away. Right, you got certain brothers talking about, the Lord made me go off. The Lord made me do it. No, brother, the Most High didn't make you do it. You did it on your own. It says, he have, for thou oughtest not to do the things that he hateth. Verse 12, say not thou, he have caused me to err, for he have no need for the sinful man. Right? So you can't say, well, the Most High had me get this job and work on a Passover, on a day of atonement. No, brother, you did that. It's just your decision that you made. The Lord don't have need of the sinful man. Yeah, the Lord had me shave my beard. No, man. It says, the Lord, verse 13, the Lord hateth all abomination, and they that fear God love it not. I'm going to jump down to verse 16. He hath set fire and water before thee. Stretch forth thy hand, whether thou wilt. Right? The Lord has options. Fire on this end, water on this end. Hey, it's up to you. What do you want? It says, verse 17, before man is life and death, and whether him liketh shall be given him. Because every decision you make is a life or death situation. You might not know that, but every situation and decision that you make is life or death. It says, for the wisdom of the Lord is great, and he is mighty in power, and beholdeth all things. And his eyes are upon them that fear him, and he knoweth every work of man. This is the point. He hath commanded no man to do wickedly, neither have he given any man license to sin. So the Lord has not given you a license to sin, man. So what, we in grace? You got certain brothers saying, yeah, we in grace. My beard could grow back, then I get another job. No, brother, the Lord didn't give you a command any man to sin, man, and give a license to sin. The Lord didn't give you a badge and a license and say, here's your license. You can do all the sinning you want. The Lord don't care if it's grace, man. You're supposed to keep the commandments. So when you're dealing with these jobs, you want to get a job that allows you to keep the commandments. For example, my last job, they allowed me to keep the Sabbath. I got off every Friday at 3 o'clock. I told them. And you want to approach them when you first come in, when you first interview them for the job. You got a lot of men, they wait till they in the middle of their job. Then they've been in there working for 2 years. Then they want to say something. No, you want to say something the moment you get to that interview. And if they don't work nothing out, they don't work nothing out. It is what it is. Go to the next job. Right? So even with my last job, I said, I need this. I need to get off every day at 3 o'clock Friday, because in the winter the sun set early. It might set around 4:30, maybe 4 o'clock. I said, I need to get off this time every day, and I have to have Saturdays off. And he said, okay, we can make that work. So when you're dealing with these jobs, you don't want to break the commandments for your job, man. A lot of brothers have a hard time dealing with that. But at the end of the day, the Lord have commanded no man to do wickedly, neither have he given any man license to sin. And in no instance. Now, let's go to Matthew, the 6th chapter. Right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 6, and let's go to verse 24. Right, this is the book of Matthew chapter 6, and verse 24. It says, no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. So you can't serve two masters. You either gonna serve your job, serve the warehouse you work at, or the restaurant, right? That's only paying you $14 an hour. Serve that, or you gonna serve the Most High and keep His commandments. You got certain women, they go in a job. Oh yeah, I know this job I know they gonna have me to not wear a dress. Then they go to that job and freak off in those pants, man. Then the Shabbat come around, then they want to put on a dress. No, sister, you went to that job on purpose, right? So you could do your own lust, right? You got something as a pant spirit. That's an actual spirit where women do not want to take off. They want to keep wearing pants, right? And not put on a dress. No, you should go to a job that allows you to wear a dress with the fringes, right? So you can't serve two masters, man. You're going to either keep the commandments and fear God and keep the commandments, right? Or you're going to serve your job, man, and let the so-called white man run all over you and cause you to fall out the truth. Let's go to the classic. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes. Right? Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, and verse number 13. It says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep His commandments. Right? For this is the whole duty of man. You have to keep the commandments of the Most High, no matter what circumstance you in. Don't matter if it's raining outside, if it's cold outside, if your job, damn, switching up days. It don't matter. You still, at the end of the day, you have to keep the commandments of the Most High. No ifs, ands, or no buts. You don't want to keep the commandments? That's okay. Ultimately be set up for destruction. It's on you. It's your choice. But that was just a tip. Now, going into the next point, it's a lot of distractions at the so-called workplace, and we're going to get in depth. Right? It's a lot of distractions going on. And brothers need to be able to be aware of that and take heed to that, man. Because it's designed for you to... Hey, we were kings, man. You think we was working all day, working 9 to 5s? Right? down putting on bricks and you down picking up boxes. You open up the boxes, you dump the stuff in there, throw the box. No, man. You think we was at warehouse jobs during the time of King Solomon? No, we were king, we were ruling. We didn't have to do that, man. We didn't have to bust our tail at the so-called workplace. So even the jobs is designed to take your mind away from the Most High. So all your time, because in your job you have to put time in it. And these distractions is set up to take your mind away from the Most High. Now, what are some distractions there? Let's get it. Let's not play around. What are some distractions at your job? Right? We just gonna say it, man. You got evil lust at your job, man. And wicked men and wicked conversations going on. Like I say, you have certain men, they see a Eve and they mind go down, they eyeballs roll back to their head. Or you had this one Jake talking about we was walking. I remember I was walking down to I believe we was going home, right? You got this one Jake talking about, oh yeah, I take that down, right? Talking about Shorty got a cannon. And the Lord not dealing with that, man. Right? You got Jake talking about, hey, Shorty got a thing on it. When did the Most High say get indulged in that? And you don't want to be that brother that's just, yeah, hey, go indulge in it. Or yeah, go talk to her. Go do this. Or you just laughing all the time. You want to be that brother that's just laugh all the time when wickedness go on, man. Right? We're not dealing with that. Then you got Eves doing whatever the hell they want to do, man. Right? You got Esau. You got this. Today was this it's this one brother I was talking to. He gave me some candy and I said I don't want it because it has pork in it. And I told him I don't eat pork. And he said, you don't eat pork? He said, hey, he said these words. He said, hey, me and the pig, that's my we best friends, man. He talking about, hey, I call up the pig. The pig say, what's up? Then I say, hey, I'm finna eat you. He said, okay. He said, me and the pig is best friends. That's off, man. And Satan is gonna try to use your job to get to you with the distractions, man. Now let's go to Proverbs 1 and 10. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 10. Right, that's all I hear, man. Is just Eve and Jake, man. Now you have different work environments. Everybody's not around that environment. Certain men, they are around the so-called white man all day in the other nations. Other men, they are around Jake. Nevertheless, this Proverbs 1 and 10. It says, my son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. So while you're at your job, you're gonna get enticed. A woman might look at you. You got just women, they just looking at you all the time. Right? They smiling. Right? You got the so-called Hispanic women, they see you. They say, what, you got dreads? What do you have? They smiling in your face. Trying to get you to go off. If sinners entice thee, consent thou not. You got certain men talking about you want to hit the blunt. Right? You want to, hey, you got a cigarette on you. And you got the vape pen on you. And what you getting into after this? Oh yeah, I'm finna go do so and so. The Lord said, if sinners entice you, consent thou not, man. That's what they're gonna try to do. They're gonna entice you by their words. They want you to indulge in it. They want you to laugh. They want you to get excited. They want you to indulge in it. Because the Lord said, consent thou not. Meaning you can't deal with it. You gotta say, nah, I don't do that. Well, I had this one Edomite, man, there's a lot of stuff that went on today that was spiritual. This Edomite, he was on a forklift. He talking about how your day going. Right? I said, hey man, I'm just trying to go home. He said, you know what'll make your day better? right? He said some weed. And then I looked at him, I said, man, I had to just turn around, man, and stop talking to him. And I don't even smoke. I never did. Nevertheless, these things are gonna try to entice you. Now you got certain brothers, they indulge in it. You got certain men, they talking about sports. Oh yeah, it's a sports spirit too. Hey, did you see so and so and so and so? Right? You know you in the truth. You know you're not supposed to be talking about it. Then you like, yeah, I seen it. Or they saying go talk to that girl. And you like, you looking around, you saying, well, why not? No, brother, you gotta stay in the spirit. Let's go to the book of Job, chapter 15. I believe a brother asked that question before. He said, how do I stay in the spirit when around worldly conversations with Jake? I believe a brother asked that question, right? But let's go to the book of Job, chapter 15. This Job chapter 15 and verse number 2. It says, should a wise man utter knowledge and fill his belly with the east wind? Should he reason with unprofitable talk, or with speeches where he cannot do no good? Right, a wise man, he's not going to be talking in unprofitable talk, where he can't do anything with the talk or the conversation. Everything that comes out your mouth, it should be to edify. Now, we know certain stances, you want to leave certain things alone, because every man is not going to get it. Nevertheless, when you are talking to somebody, Jake might bring up a topic like, dang, man, you seen that dude got shot and killed in the streets? Then you might say, well, hey, brother, that's the curses, Deuteronomy 28. Hey, that's how you want to get in that thing. But if Jake is talking about folly, just simply remove yourself, man. Or just say, right? Put your head down, ignore him. Don't indulge in that. Next you know you talking to him, then you getting so deep into the conversation, you're not even thinking about the precepts anymore. You're not thinking about praying. What you gonna do, how you gonna read after you get home from work. Now, let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 9 and 15. Right? Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 9 and verse number 15. This Sirach 9 and 15. It says, let thy talk be with the wise, and all thy communication in the Lord the Most High. So chiefly, you want to let your talk be with the wise, man. Hey, whatever comes out your mouth, it want to be thus said the Lord, wisdom, not your understanding. Because you might bring a brother in the truth like that. They might say, well, yeah, that stuff interesting. What you was talking about that? I was a brother I had like that at my first job. I was working at so-called Family Dollar. It was a conscious brother. Nevertheless, I'm breaking down certain things to him on the job. And my communication was in the law of the Most High. It says, and let the just men eat and drink with thee, and let thy glorying be in the fear of the Lord. So chiefly, you want to let your communication be in the law of the Most High. But we know when you're dealing in that environment, you might have to talk about work. You might say, hey, did you get that many stickers? Did you get all of that things into the boxes? Da. You want to talk about it. If it's not about your job, you chiefly don't want to talk about it, unless it's the laws of the Most High. So it takes discipline dealing with that as well, especially where you come from an environment that's where all you know, that's where all you do growing up. Nevertheless, chiefly want to let your communication be in the law of the Most High. Now, let me get this precept in the book of Tobit. Right? Let's go to the book of Tobit, chapter 4 and 14. It says, let not the wages of any man which have wrought for thee tarry with thee, but give it him out of hand. For if thou serve God, he will also repay thee. Be circumspect, my son. This what Tobit told Tobias. He told him to be circumspect. It says, my son, in all things thou doest, and be wise in all thy conversation. So this is what Tobit told Tobias his son. He told him, hey, be circumspect. Anything you do, be circumspect. As well as that, hey, be wise in your conversation, man. So again, if it's not about the laws of the Most High or it's about your work, you chiefly don't want to talk about it, man. All right, you want to do what you got to do, take yourself home, and be in the fear of the Most High. Now, dealing with the Eves at your job, man, or the women, because you got a lot of brothers they dealing with that. Let's go to Sirach chapter 25. You got certain men talking about, yeah, why not do it? Why not talk to that woman? It's not a sin, brother. Yeah, it's not a sin, but brother, you at work, man. You giving in to that lust, right? Let's go to Sirach. Let's deal with this real fast. This is Sirach 25 and 21. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for her pleasure. So if you see an Eve walk by and she's comely to look upon, you don't want to stumble at her beauty, man. Like I say, you got a lot of Jake saying, yo, let me holler at you. Right? What's your name? Right? The Most High is not dealing with that. Right? Because it's out of lust, man. It's not sincere. It's not like you sincerely trying to work with that sister on your work terms. The Lord says, stumble not at the beauty of a woman and desire her not for her pleasure, man. You chiefly don't want, if she's not in the truth, you chiefly don't want to be looking at those women. And those women at the job, man, they don't have no shamefastness. They all out there. They don't have no meekness. They don't have no morals, no standards. They're a low value woman. They're not high value women. High value woman is a woman that fears God and keeping the commandments. Likewise with you sisters in the truth, man. Don't be trying to get on with Jake at your so-called job. Right? Out of lust and wickedness. Most side, he's not dealing with that. Right? Chiefly, again, get to work, do what you gotta do, and take yourself home. Now, let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians. Right? So those the different distractions. Well, Esau could be a distraction at your work. The so-called white man, he's gonna do things to get you out of the spirit. He might lay you off. Then he said, hey, get to work, boy. You know you got anger issues. You know you don't like the so-called white man. But he's saying, get to work, boy. I had at my one Edomite boss, I was going to break, and he talking about where you going. I said, what you mean where I'm going? I'm going on break. Then he said, okay. Right? I really should have checked him, but I just had to keep my head down. Right? I had this Edomite trying to my Edomite boss last one, he's trying to hug me. He said, how you doing? How you doing today? How you feeling today? I'm like, bro, I remember one time I told him, I'm like, hey man, you acting weird. Then he kind of got in his feelings and he was hurt about it. So Esau is gonna try to get you, these other nations at your job, they're gonna try to get you out of the spirit. It's a distraction. That's what the Most High said. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Right? Let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Right, it's 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse number 35. Right, now when you read 1 Corinthians, the 7th chapter, it's chiefly right, Salakia. Right, when you deal with 1 Corinthians, the 7th chapter, it's It's chiefly dealing with marriage. All right, it's chiefly going into marriage. But you can also apply this to you as well. This 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and 35. It says, it's like, yeah, that's Satan, man. Every time I go live. This 1 Corinthians 7 and 35. And this I speak for your own profit, not that I may cast a snare upon you, but for that which is comely, and that ye may attend upon the Lord without distraction. And you want to pray, before you go into your work, you want to pray, man. You want to pray that you tend upon the Lord without distractions, because being in that environment of work, it's a lot of distractions that come with it. Money might be a distraction. A lot of men, they get caught up in that money. Next you know, they working down overtime. They missing the feast days. They working on the down Sabbath, trying to get overtime money, trying to get more hours in, all for money. It's a lot of distract. Women is not the only distraction, or weed, right? Money is also a distraction. Greed, getting that top position. These are all distractions that go on in the so-called workplace. Now, let's go to the next topic, right? The next topic is when you're working, don't get too caught up in your job, right? I'm gonna say that again. If you have a job, you are working, don't get too caught up in your job, man. You got certain brothers, they get too caught up in their job, right? The brother's supposed to go to camp. Then he said, yeah, I fell asleep. Man, the job, they had me come in extra. Now you missing camp, brother. Right? Getting too caught up in it. You don't read because your job having you work so many hours. Right? You a sister, you work, but you barely study or can pray because you always at work. You don't want to let your job get you all jammed up, man. I'm gonna say this. A lot of people fall out because of their job. You will be surprised. That's where it starts. Why? Because they don't have a just balance. Right? And so you got men talking about, you got men getting too caught up. You didn't work 12-hour shifts. Then you come home. You didn't work 12-hour shifts. Then you come home. You don't even want to read. You just tired. You just collapse and fall into the bed. Well, brother, maybe you need to find a new job, brother. That helps you balance things out. Right? You don't have no time to spend at home. You don't have no time to read. No time to watch a video. You just always caught up at work. Hey, people get caught up in that world, man. That workplace is a world. You got certain men, they trying to get up, they trying to get into a top position. Right? Man, let me work harder. Let me bust a sweat so the so-called white man can see me so I can become a supervisor. The Lord's not dealing with that rising up spirit, man. Let's go to the book of, I want to get this precept. Right. In the book of Romans, chapter 12. Classic. Let's go to the book of Romans, chapter 12 and 2. We just going to say it. Your job is a part of this world. We just going to say it. It is what it is. Now, it could be used for righteous examples, nevertheless, or for you to be able to do what you have to do and take care of you and your family. Nevertheless, it's just of this world. We just gonna say it. It's the book of Romans, chapter 12 and 2. And be not conformed to this world. You can't be conformed to your job, man. Your job is a part of this world. Don't be conformed to. You got a lot of men, they become a slave into their job. So-called white man said, hey, you did good last week, boy. 55 hours. I need you to do 60 hours this week. Then you down doing 60 hours, man. Drinking down energy drinks. Right, your eyes bloodshot red, you doing this. You trying to stay up. You trying to stay up and read, you like this. You down falling asleep. Brother, you putting your job over the Most High. You got certain men say, yeah, I can't go out and teach. I gotta work. Gotta go into it. No, brother, you don't have to, brother. You choosing to. The Lord said, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove that what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So you can't be conformed to this world. What's a part of this world? Your job. You can't be conformed to that, man. You can't let that have preeminence over the Most High. A lot of men, you put that first. You have that preeminence, and you put it over the Most High. Hold on, I thought Yahweh Shah was supposed to get all the preeminence. In Colossians 1:15 on down. Let's go to Exodus, the 20th chapter. Right? Go to Exodus, the 20th chapter. It's the book of Exodus, chapter 20, and verse number 3. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. And that's plain, man. You can't have no other gods before the Most High. Now, God just means power. You can't idolize anything before the Most High, man. Right? You have certain men, they idolize the black woman. I believe we ran into a brother. He believes the black woman is God. He's putting the so-called black woman over the Most High. You have certain men, they put down clothes and shoes over the Most High. And guess what? You have other men, they put their job and they put it over the Most High. To the point where they're so slothful and so lukewarm, they're letting their job overcome them and overtake them. Next thing you know, they fall out the truth. They stop coming to camp, they fall out the truth. They stop coming to the feast days. They stop hitting brothers up. They just work. You have something called a work demon. This is literally a work demon. I know I've seen brothers have a work demon on them. These people at these jobs, man, all they want to do is work. They don't care. They want to work. They want to be a slave. And I don't like working. I'm going to be honest. I don't like working, man. I don't like waking up at 3:30 every morning to go to work. I hate getting up early in the morning for that, man. Nobody likes doing that, especially for your oppressor. Surely oppressor maketh the wise man mad. That's Ecclesiastes 7:7. What these people don't know is that they're in modern day slavery. But you got certain brothers, they got a work demon. They see a job, $23 an hour, then their mind goes cha-ching. Right? And we don't want to do that. We just want to serve. We want to be we want to serve God, man, to the best of our ability. We want to attend upon the Lord without distraction. So you don't want to be that brother or that sister that puts your job before you do the Most High. Everything has to have a just balance. Let's go to Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs, the first chapter. Right? Let's go to Proverbs chapter 1 and verse number 2. Proverbs 1 and 2. It says, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice and judgment and equity. Now, well, if a brother can, Bob Kashad, if you could throw the definition of the word equity in the chat, that'd be very helpful. But when you go into the word equity, that's actually balancing things out, right? That's balancing things out. That's having a just balance. You don't want to, again, you don't want to always idolize your job. You don't have no time for the Most High. You don't want to have a wife and kids, and you're not spending time with your family, building them up in the truth, but you always have your job first. You know, you want to have things come to a balance, a just balance, right? Because the Lord, He hates a false balance, man. Lord is not dealing with a false balance. All right? Lord is not dealing with the damn chalkboard. You writing down new ideas to help benefit your job, and you haven't read in 3 days. Brother, your priorities is messed up. Your mind is not right. So you want to have something called equity. And again, if a brother is able to pull up that definition and throw it in there, right, all praises to the Most High. Nevertheless, that's what that's going into. I'm going to read that again. This Proverbs chapter 1 and 3. It says, to receive the instruction of wisdom, right? Because wisdom instructs you. Justice and judgment and equity, right? And the equity of having, it's synonymous with a just balance. So you want to be able to equip equity into your everyday life. Whether that's before you go to work, you read, get your chapters out the way. Then during work, you're praying, you're watching a video. Then after work, you come home, you study, get into some precepts. Then you might go on a fast. You want to have equity. Now, let's go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 11 and 1. Right, it's the book of Proverbs, chapter 11 and 1, the classic. It says, a false balance is an abomination to the Lord. So if you have a false balance, the Lord is not dealing with that. Everything's just off. No, the Lord not dealing with a false balance, right? The Lord not dealing with you putting on your Chuck E. Cheese cut. You work at Chuck E. Cheese, you putting on your damn Chuck E. Cheese costume, damn singing happy birthday, and you only fast once a month, but you claim to be an Israelite, but you in a Chuck E. Cheese costume, damn 10 hours a day, 12 hours if you put in OT. Or you at a warehouse, man. Hey, you men at these warehouses, be careful, man. They'll work you. They'll work you. Nevertheless, it says, but a just weight is his delight. Now let's go to Proverbs chapter 20 and 23. Right, let's go to Proverbs 20 and 23. This is a good precept. This Proverbs 20 and 23. Diverse weights are an abomination unto the Lord, and a false balance is not good. So if you have a false balance, not just with your job, but that goes for your life in general, that's not good, man. You got to fix something. You got to get your priorities right. You got to get your mind right. Because a false balance, according to the Most High, that's not good. Now, let's go to the next point. Next point I have written down is be an example. Right? Now, with you being almost the only Israelite at your so-called job, you might be the only sister in the truth at your job, you have to be the example to men that do not believe in Yahushua. Or you have to be an example to men that don't believe in this truth. Let's go to that in Matthew, the 5th chapter. Right? Let's go to Matthew, the 5th chapter. It's Matthew chapter 5. in verse number 14. It says, "Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on high on a hill cannot be hid. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put her under a bushel." So no man will light a candle. Let's say the power go off. No man will light a candle and put it in one corner of the room somewhere. No, that's off. It says, "But on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house." So you're gonna put that thing on a candlestick, and you're gonna set it right in the middle so it could give light to the whole house. You wouldn't cover up that candle. It says, "Let your light show shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." See that? So you want to let your light show shine. You want to let your light shine, man. So where your friends? You got certain men, they go to work, they tucking in their fringes, right? They see Jake looking at them with their head turned sideways, then they tucking in their fringes, right? Then as soon as they get off work, they pulling out their fringes, saying, "Ooh, oh man, that was a good one today." No, no, brother. Wear your fringes. And the reason why I said this because Monday I went to work, and I'm saying I wear my fringes to work, obviously, but it was this brother who seen my fringes, and he was like, "Shalom," and I said, "Shalom, what's going on?" And I looked at the brother. The brother said, "Shalom," and he pointed to my fringes and said, "Shalom," so he knows about it. But the brother was going to work with no fringes on. So if he had fringes, I would be able to identify him and say, "Oh yeah, you Israel? Okay, Shalom." But he didn't have any fringes on, so it's hard to identify who's who. That's like a code, for lack of better terms. So you see somebody with fringes, 9 out of 10, okay, this person might be in the truth. That brother didn't have fringes on, but he knew he was Israel. So certain brothers, they deal with that spirit of anxiety, doubt. They don't want to be weird. They shy. They care what people think about them. So you might be an example to that brother that's timid. He has anxiety. He's worried about what other people say. He might see, well, okay, that brother, he has his fringes on. Maybe I'm gonna start putting my fringes on. Next you know, you provoking the brother to jealousy. Or you might be at work with a sister, she knows she's Israel, but she doesn't wear a dress. So by she seeing you wear your dress often, guess what? Now she's building up her confidence. Now she want to put on it. She see you doing it. She said, "Okay, I could do it. She could do it. I could do it." You want to be an example. One thing I've learned in this truth, somebody is always watching you. Well, most importantly, we know the Most High and the angels are always watching. But even when you think nobody is watching or paying attention to you, they are always looking at you. They're always watching you. These spirits, again, they know who you are. Right? If you're the elect. Nevertheless, these evil spirits, they know who you are if you're going hard for the Most High. So you have to be an example. And that's anywhere. But it's chiefly at your job. Let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 4. Right? Let's go to the book of 1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 12. 1 Timothy chapter 4 and 12. It says, "Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers." So Paul told Timotheus to be an example of the believers. How though? In word, meaning the things you say, you want to be an example in word. In conversation as well. The things you say as well. You want to be an example in your conversation. Because somebody could see you talking about righteous things, and they may say, "Well, dang, how did you get like that? What made you do that?" Next thing you know, you didn't want a soul even at your job. It says, "In charity, in spirit and faith and purity. The point is, you want to be an example to the believers, not only to the believers but to the men and women that don't want to believe in this thing. Right? Now let's go to the book of Judah, chapter 8. Right, let's go to the book of Judah, chapter 8 and 24. Right? Right? It's the book of Judah, chapter 8 and verse number 24. It says, "Now therefore, O brethren, let us shew an example to our brethren, because their hearts depend on us, and the sanctuary and the house and the altar rest upon us." So, Judah said, let's be an example. Let's show an example unto our brethren. And you being in this truth, you have to be a light to the Gentiles. When that means be a light to the Gentiles, those Gentiles is talking about the Israelites that don't know who they are. And that's obviously the people in this world. So you want to be a light. You want to shed your light unto them and cause them to be able to come into the truth. Right? So that's another point you want to add on dealing in this workplace or this work environment. Now, another point is dealing with Esau and the other nations. Right? The so-called white man. Right now, every brother doesn't have the same type of job. Different men, they work with different people. You have certain men, they work where it's nothing but ghetto and it's hood and Jake and Eve is there. You have other certain people, they work with Edomites and other nations. Now, dealing with that, it's a certain way you want to go about it. You don't want to just pull up to your job. Esau tell you, hey, can you do this for you? Can you do this for me and take this to the office? Then you say, no, you're going into slavery. Right? Isaiah chapter 14 and 1. Revelation chapter 13 and 9. Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 16. No, the Most High is not dealing with that. You have to, let's go to Matthew the 10th chapter. Right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 10. It's Matthew chapter 10 and 16. You got certain men that's like that. They'll try to get on this so-called white man. Next thing you know, they get fired. Then when they get fired, they say, all praise to the Most High. Right? I'm catching hell in this thing. Right? You know me. Nah, brother, you're not catching hell. You were being ignorant and stupid and foolish. Now you can't even feed your family. Let's go to Matthew 10 and 16. It says, behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. And that's how you are. You're a sheep in the midst of wolves. That could be twofold. The wolves could be the people of your own nation. The wolves could be referred to as the other nations. It says, be therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So when you dealing with the other nations chiefly, this applies to when you're dealing with Jake, but when you're dealing with the other nations chiefly, you want to be wise as a serpent. A serpent is equated with subtlety and wisdom. You want to move around and slither in certain things. Everything you bring up, you talk to Esau about, it don't have to be always biblical. Again, have your conversation about your job and go about your business. You don't want to tell your boss that you're an Edomite and he's reserved to captivity and his baby is getting dashed against the stone, according to Psalm chapter 147. And Psalm chapter 140, the Lord not dealing with that, man. And Psalm chapter 137 on down. 137 and 7 on down. You want to be wise as a serpent. So if Esau asks you, hi, how you doing? With a smile on his face, say, hey, I'm okay, how you doing as well? You got certain men, I don't need to talk to you. You're a Edomite. Brother, watch you get fired from that job. If your boss say, hey, I need you to do da-da-da-da-da for me, say, okay, I have it on your desk, sir. And keep it pushing, man. Now, if Esau is throwing racist remarks in there, and being out of order, then you will have to check them. But it's still a way you want to check them. Be like, hey, sir, I didn't come here for that. I'm not gonna let you racial slur me. Or, hey, man, take it to your his supervisor or the man that's in charge of him. But it's a certain way you want to deal with Esau and the other nations. You want to deal with respect, and you can have a good reputation amongst that. And so, now you get a promotion all because you've been respectful. Or let's say you go to another job, they say, hey, anytime you want to work here again, you're a good worker, you're respectful, you come in on time, and you're always welcome back. That's in. Let's go to the book of. Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 16, and verse number 1. It says, and he said unto his disciples, there was a certain rich man which had a steward, and the same was accused unto him that he had wasted his goods. And he called him and said unto him, how is it that I hear this of thee? Right? It was a certain steward, and the same was accused unto him that he had wasted his goods. And he called him and said unto him, how is it that I hear thee of this? Give an account of thy stewardship, for thou mayest be no longer a steward. Meaning, hey, give account what you have. You're no longer a steward. It says, then the steward said within himself, what shall I do? For my Lord taketh away from me the stewardship. I cannot dig to beg. I am ashamed. Right? Meaning, for lack of better terms, modern day. Right? For lack of better terms, this man, in the modern day, he was getting his job taken away from him. Verse 4. I am. Salakia. Right? Somebody keep calling me. I'm going to read that again. Verse 4, Luke 16:4. I am resolved what to do, that when I am put out of the stewardship, they may receive into their houses. So he called every one of his Lord's debtors unto him, and said unto the first. So what he did was, this man, he called every one of his Lord's debtors, meaning people that he owed debt to, of the man of his Lord, he was stewardship under, and said unto the first, how much owest thou unto my Lord? Meaning he's calling these men that owe their debts unto his master. He's saying, hey, how much do you owe my boss, my Lord? Verse 6, and he said 100 measures of oil. And he said unto him, take thy bill and sit down quickly and write 50. See, it says, then said he to another, and how much owest thou? And he said 100 measures of wheat. And he said unto him, take thy bill and write 80. And the Lord commended the unjust steward, because he had done wisely. So the Lord commended this man, because this man was using wisdom in that. It says, for the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of the light. And I say unto you, make to yourselves friends of the mammon of unrighteousness. So although Esau, we know Esau is wicked, the man at your job, he's an Edomite, he's off, he's wicked, he's ungodly. We know that already. But the Lord said be friends of it. Now that don't mean be friends of the man at your job. Next you know, you go into the movies with him, and you missing count to them go watch the movie Black Panther or whatever movie they got out now. No, that's meaning be cool with them. You want to be cool with every man, like I say in Romans the 12th chapter. We're gonna get to that in Romans the 12th chapter. Meaning you want to have a distant but cool relationship with them. I'm gonna tell you why. It says, when ye fail, that they may receive you into everlasting habitations. So let's say if you fall on hard times, Since that last job you was with, you had a good reputation. Now you on hard times, you could go back to that job all because you did what you was supposed to be doing and you was respectful. Now let's say if you was a nigga and you was acting up at that last job and casting judgment. Let's say if you down bad, you don't have any job, you don't have no work going around, all because you didn't act respectfully and be cool with the last person you was at that job with or the boss. Now you struck out of luck, brother, because you wasn't dealing in wisdom. You didn't have, they call it in the world, the connects. You really want to have the connects. No matter who it could be an Asian man. You want to have the connects. That don't mean you associate with them or hang out with them. It's just business. You cool with them. So let's say if you need a job, hey, I can come back to you, da 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 da, and next thing you know, um, you work for them. You getting constant income coming in, all because you have connects. It says, "He that is faithful, and which he is least, is faithful also in much, and he that is unjust in the least is unjust in much. If therefore ye have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches? And if ye have not been faithful in that which is another man's, who shall give you that which is your own?" And that's a good parable of the unjust steward. Because at the end of the day, he was still able to have the connection. He was friends with the mammon by paying off those debts that those men owed to his master. Now let's go to Romans, the 12th chapter. All right, let's go to Romans chapter 12. Let's go to the book of Romans chapter 12 and verse 18. Romans 12 and 18. It says, "If it be possible, as much as lieth in you," meaning if it's possible, live peaceably with all men. Now that's how you want to do it. Now we know if we on the highways and byways, if it's a different story. Things might get heated up. Nevertheless, while you at your job or whatnot, I'm saying your workplace, if it's possible, you want to live peaceably with all men. You want to be well favored. You want to be respectful. You want to conduct yourself in a good manner. Because even the other nations, they can see you like, who is this dude? Yeah, he's into his religion, but dang, this man is moving in wisdom and respect. Right? They even Herod said that about John the Baptist. Herod said to John the Baptist, "Hey, this is a righteous man." When John the Baptist was in his cell, man. So even a heathen could be able to see how you conduct yourself and associate you with being wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Now, he had a question from Malak Judah. Says, "What if Esau knows about this truth and fires you because of your fringes?" Well, hey man, it is what it is at the end of the day. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 3 and 5. If Esau know about the truth, he know what's going on, and he fires you. Well, technically he can't do that according to his own law. It's have some called I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's where you could work, but you could be in a religion, but you could still work in that environment. That's why you see certain East Indians, they got the dot on their head, but yet they still could work there. And the so-called white man has to respect their religion. If he doesn't, then you could actually go to court for that. Hey, they're not allowed to do that. To just fire you because you have your fringes on. But let's say if that did happen. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 5. It's Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 5. "Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding." So if that was to happen, hey, it is what it is. Trust in the Most High that he's going to give you a better job, another job. And don't lead unto your own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Now, I'm going to tell y'all a quick story that I believe that didn't happen to me, but at my last job I was working at, I was breaking down the truth to this Issacharite. And I gave him a YouTube channel. I said, hey, check this out. You're an Israelite from the tribe of Issachar. So guess what? And he's a coon, I'm going to say it. Guess what this man did? He went to my boss and he showed him our YouTube channel that we teach on. And I believe around that time we had an Edomite bowing down. And then my Edomite boss came to me and say, hey, I see you on YouTube, right? I be watching your videos. So even my Edomite boss said he watched my videos, right? All praise to the Most High. I didn't get fired, but from that point on, he started to act weird. They started to really look at me different, right? So my Edomite boss, he came out, he said, yeah, I watch your videos, right? I said, I just put my head down, man. I couldn't do nothing about it. Now, was Issachar being a coon? Absolutely. He was off for that. Nevertheless, hey, it is what it is. I still have my job. Now, if he watching my videos and he see something he don't like, it is what it is. We gotta preach the gospel, man. I'm not ashamed of what I do. Let's go to that in Romans chapter 1 and 16. Right? What do you think I'm supposed to be ashamed? Esau say, yeah, I watch your videos. You're very racist. Right? No, it is what it is, man. I'm going to read this in Romans chapter 1 and verse number 16. For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Hamashiach. For it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believeth, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. So I'm not ashamed of what I do, man. Yeah, I teach the Bible. Yeah, I teach that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans of Indian and Negro descent are the true Israelites according to history, Bible prophecy, and archaeology. And the so-called white men in the other nations are going to slavery according to the Bible. Yeah, I teach that. I'm not ashamed of that. So, all praise to the Most High. The Lord will look out for you if you truly doing what you're supposed to be doing. But with that, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh. Yahweh. Most High willing, this video is edifying. Right? Most High willing, you continue to read, pray, fast, and study. And most importantly, beseech the Heavenly Father for his mercy. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.